photography shopping live stream where we go online together and look for deals. And I try to curate a few ahead of time. But also, if you're looking for anything special, we can shop together and I can make some recommendations if it's a good deal or not, or good enough quality, or will fit the purpose for what you're looking to do or problem you're trying to solve in your photography venture. And sorry if I'm a little flustered because I just got back like less than an hour ago from a photo walk. Uh, and I posted a bunch of stuff on Flickr, so we might look at those later. And also, after we kind of get through some of the deals, we'll just open up for an open photography Q&A, like a normal photo chat that I do on Sunday. So it's a hybrid live stream, anything goes. And thank you, everyone, for joining me today, those of you that are here. And I can see it's a pretty small crowd, but also, I just mentioned that I am running my live streams this month again, ad-free. So if you'd like to support my ad-free live streams where we're not interrupted and we can have a more fluid experience, you can become a member for 99 cents, or and today in particular, you can use my affiliate links down below for Amazon and others that we'll look at. So I'm an affiliate and we'll earn a commission on sales, which again goes to support everything I do here to help the photography community best I can. It's greatly appreciated. Um, excuse me. So, with that said, I see Henning's here and Intrigue's here. Good to see you guys. Um, Let me go right to my shopping page, and I have the bookmarks down below to my deals page. And there's a really good filter set on sale today that I wanted to point out. And let's see, here we go. See if I can get in here without disturbing. So this is one of the links down below, Rob Treck's Picks or robtreck.com/deals. And the first one up here is a 72 millimeter magnetic filter set. And this has really some great filters in it. It has the circular polarizer, which of course is just a baseline. Every photographer should have that. We also have a 10-stop ND filter, or ND1000. And this is really great for doing daytime long exposures. And for our OM System Olympus camera owners, you can do live comp and get those really great uh, streaky skies on a cloudy day. So I'm going to try and do that again. I tried it a couple of years ago, and it was kind of neat, but it wasn't a very interesting scene. But I'd like to try that again because I do have a 10-stop ND filter. And they also include the carry case. That carry case alone sells for like $15 all by itself. And the fact that it's magnetic, it's so easy to use. I love magnetic filters. They're very secure. I've never had one come off on the lens unless I knocked it against something. Then it might knock off. Like there was this time where I was putting the camera in between some bars of a fence. And when I was pulling the camera out, it bumped the filter and it fell off. Luckily for me, it fell off onto the the ground, right? But I was next to someone on another photo walk where they were doing the same thing. They were poking their lens through a couple of bars of the fence, and when they pulled their camera out, they bumped the filter and knocked it off into the water. And they had like $100 filter on their on their camera. Uh, what's great about this is a great deal for $37.49. Um, you know, you're not going to find this deal every week. Every week it seems like they have a different size on sale. Last week I think it was the 62 millimeter filter set, and I know a few of you grabbed that. The 72 millimeter filter set is more common on Canon RF mount lenses, but check your cameras or lenses and see what filter thread size you have on some of them. And this is definitely one. I think the 12 to 100 f4 might be a 72 millimeter also. Let me just check that. I think it's a 72. Let me just take a quick look. I've been thinking about getting this lens for myself. Uh, where's the ring size? 72. So if you have the 12 to 100 f4, this is a great filter set for that as well. And also comes with a metallic lens cap. The UV filter is very limited use, just when you're maybe at a sandy beach and there's a lot of salt water spray. I would use the UV filter in those situations, but 9 times out of 10, I would leave that off and keep it in the case. And I would probably just use the circular polarizer 99% of the time and the ND1000 filter time to time for doing daytime long exposures and also for live comps. So it's a great filter set at a great price. I can't recommend this enough. There's another filter set here. This one here, this is a fair deal. Okay, the 46 millimeter is 50% off. So check your ring sizes here and see if these prices make sense to you. These are all pretty decent prices. Not the very best deal you'll get all year, but it's good enough that if you're looking for filters, now is the time to get one. This filter set here is this a more common 62 millimeter for micro four thirds, like for the 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro lens. You definitely want to get an ND filter and excuse me, a circular polarizer. You definitely have to get, but also the ND4 filter. The ND4 is great for dragging your shutter a little bit. Now the EM1 Mark III and the OM1s, the OM3s, and I think the OM5, they all have ND filters built in, the digital ND filters. But sometimes it's not quite enough. So you can add an ND4 filter and just get that little bit of extra shutter speed, right? A little bit longer shutter speed by 2 more stops. And the ND4 is also very useful for flash photography, where you're doing portraits and you want to sort of crush the ambient light a little bit without having to go into high-speed sync mode. So for those of you that are flash photographers, you'll really appreciate being able to just use a solid ND filter so you don't have to use high-speed sync. Um, Especially if you're using a non-TTL flash that doesn't have high-speed sync anyway. You can use a very cheap flash, like a $40 flash, and use this ND filter with it, and you can you shoot at wider apertures and still get uh, the shallower depth of field and a good separation between the foreground and background with respect to lighting, right? You can darken the background a little bit, but your subject will still be illuminated. So the ND4 filter is really great for portrait photography, flash photography, and then also dragging the shutter just a little bit, because not everybody likes that silky smooth waterfall, right? Some people want to see just a little bit of detail, but still blur it a little bit, which is very natural to the human eye. Is what we see in real life is we don't see a frozen image of the waterfall. We see a moving waterfall, but we still see detail. So an ND4 filter is really good for giving us that little bit extra above and beyond what, say, the digital ND filter can do in our cameras. Um, and oh, the 40 to 150 2.8, that would be also, I think, a 72 millimeter, right? So it actually, these are two lenses I don't own, so I have to look them up. Uh, Whoops, f2.8, right? So the 2.8 is also, I believe, a 72. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So, yeah, lots of, a couple of lenses already in the Micro Four Thirds lineup is 72 millimeters natively, and having a magnetic filter set is great. So I see David just bought one. That's awesome. Oh, hey, Marsha, I see you dropped in. Great to see you. Okay, so here's the 62 millimeter filter set. I've talked about this one. It's a good deal. And oops, let's see. Now here's a 58 millimeter magnetic set. And this is great if you have the 12 to 45 f4 Pro or the Panasonic 12 to 35 f2.8 and the 35 to 100 f2.8 from Panasonic. This also fit the 75 millimeter 1.8 from Olympus and the 40 to 150 kit lens from Olympus. The f4 to 5.6 is a 58 millimeter filter thread. So we have the circular polarizer and we have a 10-stop ND filter. Both excellent filters for those lenses. Um, so I think I'm going to add this one to my cart. Now it says it's regular price $30, but there's a 20% checkout discount. So you add the products to your cart, and then the discount should be applied automatically. If you don't get the 20% discount when you go to checkout, just wait. Just wait. These will go on. These will go on sale probably next week or the week after, uh, at 20% off anyway. Just like just like this filter set here right now is 21% off. This is 20% off, but it's via a coupon. But in a week or two, it'll probably be 20% off without a coupon. So just wait it out if you don't get the deal today. Uh, all right. Moving on, the backpacks. Okay. I was never a backpack guy until I got a couple of backpacks that fit me just right, that were perfect. One was sent to me for review. Another one I bought for myself, a K&F bag. But this is a great bag also for 39, 40 bucks, right? It's $20 off. And Bag Smart, this is all sight unseen from me, but I'm looking at all of the features of this bag. And this one here, it opens in the front, right? So typically what you would do is uh, you would you would have the bag up upright and take your gear out with the bag upright, just like they're showing in the thing here. You can lay it down on the ground, but then your straps in the back of the bag is going to get dirty if it's on, dirt or, a muddy area. So that could present a problem, but for most of the time, that's not going to be an issue. You're not going to lay your bag down in the dirt and mud, right? You're going to lay it down on the grass or on the a rock or a bench or a table. In which case, uh, you're not going to have any issues. So personally, I prefer the ones that unzip from the rear. But this one also has a side pocket, so you can access the gear without taking the bag off at all. And we have an open pocket in the top just for loose items. Or you can do what I do is I put in another bag. I put a small carry bag inside the top of that that has padding and everything, and I use it to store gear as well. So I have a little bag insert that I use in the top that not included with this. It's just an open area. But and then we have tripod strap, on the side, so you can carry your tripod as they've illustrated here. And I love these front pockets that open without having to open the entire bag, so you can access, uh, your filters and other accessories, power banks, memory cards, triggers, all without having to open the entire bag. All you have to do is unzip the one little zipper. So this is actually a really well thought out and designed bag. And the front also is sort of a hard shell. So it's going to protect your gear even better in the front there. It's not going to be just some kind of thin padding or no padding at all in some cases. They have a nice little hard shell here. And the bag is 40 bucks. I mean, you can't beat that, for a backpack. So, based on everything here, uh, I don't see any issues with this bag. The only thing I would do differently is I prefer uh, ones that open from the back, personally. But if you look on the front, we also have some elastic bands here, and I can never figure out what I would use that for, right? What would I use that for? Well, clearly you can use it like to stuff your jackets, because you might start out in the morning for sunrise and it's kind of cool, or vice versa. You start in the afternoon and then by evening it's kind of cool, and you can just throw your jacket there in the back without having to stuff it inside the bag, right? Because sometimes our jackets are a little bit bulky. Uh, but also, what I was thinking was this would be a great place to put like a stool. These little collapsible stools that you can get, instead of stuffing them into the side pockets, because sometimes they're a little bit too thick. They're not heavy, but they're not going to fit in the side pocket. So you can strap them on the rear here very easily. So that's very, very handy. And then, of course, we have some hook loop, not hook loop, but a strap here at the top that you can put carabiners and hang other things off that you might want to. For example, I've seen people hang, or I've seen examples of products being hung via carabiner off the back of the bag, like a solar panel, for charging their power banks and things while they're hiking. So yeah, there's lots to like about this bag. It's going to be well made, relatively speaking. And at this price point, this is the kind of bag you buy and use for a few years, and when it wears out, you just buy another one. This is not a 25-year bag, okay? This is like probably a 3 to 5 year type bag if you're going to use it on a regular basis. But at this price point, it's okay. 40 bucks, right? Okay. And then let's move on to, now this is an interesting bag. Same price. It's not on sale. This is a good sized bag. It looks kind of small because it's very, very thick, but it has a very, very hard shell here. And you can put in, it says, a 15.6-inch laptop, basically. And let's see where the dimensions are. This bag is roughly 17 inches high by 13 inches wide and 9 inches deep, 9.8 inches deep. So it's actually a pretty good sized bag, good capacity, but this hard shell is key because this is where you're going to put your laptop or tablet or monitor. And I tried to stuff a monitor into my backpack, and it doesn't have a hard cover like this one. And I have to be really, really careful that I don't just drop my bag down or just toss the bag into the back of the car. I have to be especially gentle because I don't want to bend or crack my monitor or tablet that I stuffed into the bag. This backpack, I'll still be careful, of course, but this backpack, I would have a much higher level of confidence that I'm not going to crack my screen while it's traveling in my car and bouncing around potentially over speed bumps and, potholes and things like that. Also, this bag opens from the rear, and they provide plenty of dividers, which I really like. So, especially for our Micro Four Thirds gear, we have a lot of small lenses and accessories and batteries that we can stuff in. And with a lot of dividers, we can stuff things in nice and secure. Uh, so as you can see, there's a boatload of dividers here, a couple of straps, and then some mesh pockets there. Uh, so being a hard shell, it does not have uh, as many small pockets, right, that you can zipper. Unlike the Bag Smart bag that we looked at before, that had a lot of zipper pockets, right, for small things. This one doesn't have quite as many, and it's not zippered, so they're kind of loose. So it's a little bit of give and take. But if your priority is more towards a hard shell and protection, this is a better bag. If your priority is convenience and more pockets so you can separate and organize things, the other bag is probably a better way to go. But either way, I like both of these bags at this price point. This is hard to beat. Now, this bag, uh, if you look at the history, you can see this bag started at $129. Then they dropped the price down to 69 or like $70, and then it went on sale on and off. But right now it seems to be at this 39.99 price. So if they had left the retail price at $129, this bag is about like 60 or 70% off, right? Whatever that percentage is. So this is a really good deal. Even though it's not on sale technically, it's at a really good price right now. And again, if you prioritize protection, hard shell is hard to beat, right? Pun intended. Okay, and then let's see. Here's a couple other bags. Here's another one, same price point. This is also by this one's by Watkun Outdoor Camera Backpack. This one is also this one opens from the rear, has lots of individual pockets for accessories for good organization. It has standard buckles in the back, which makes it very easy to open and close the rear flap. So you get better rain protection. And then it also has the straps on the back, like we talked about. Uh, and this, the side pocket, of course, I'm trying to find the other side. Wow, they're really not showing. Let me find a picture. What I was trying to look at is this pocket here, but this is also has a buckle here, so you can strap a tripod to the side if you don't want to strap it to the bottom. So you can go either way with this one. Now this one you can see is just under 17 inches by 5.7 inches deep and 11 inches wide. So it's a little bit smaller backpack. This is, I would say, closer to a 20-liter backpack if you want to look at the sizes and comparisons. Um, oh, they have a picture right here. So, a little elastic for, cup holder and also for tripods because there is a buckle or strap on the side as well. Uh, Small pouches here in the front for your accessories and batteries and filters, and then an open pouch in the top. Again, this is where I would put like an additional small bag or insert with dividers and put additional gear in there. 40 bucks. Again, can't complain. So this is everything that the Bag Smart bag was, except it opens from the rear, basically. And a little bit different styling. And this bag's a little bit smaller than the one from BagSmart, just a hair smaller. So this may be more comfortable for carrying gear because you're not going to stuff it, right? Don't overstuff your backpacks, okay? Trust me on that one because you might as well. Yeah, it's rough when the backpack's heavy. Actually, I don't care what people say in the reviews about how comfortable the straps are. If you overstuff your backpack, you're gonna get tiresome either way, no matter how comfortable the straps are, because all of these smaller backpacks don't have a proper waist buckle system where it distributes the weight onto your hips rather than onto your shoulders. Um, and that's to be expected because these are not high capacity backpacks. Typically, the ones with the waist buckle systems typically are, your 35-liter backpacks and up. Those are the backpacks that have those things because those you will have to stuff and they will be very heavy. So distributing the weight to your hips takes a lot of stress off your shoulders. Okay, and you know, I like this backpack because it's very slim. A lot of our Micro Four Thirds gear and smaller camera systems, are loose in the larger bags. 20-liter bag, 25-liter bags. I find that unless I have enough dividers, I have to add things. I have to add inserts and microfiber cloth and things like that inside the bag so that everything stays nice and secure. But with this backpack, uh, it's not very deep. So when you put your gear in there, it's going to be very secure. And then it also has the open area on the top for just loose items. It's not really big enough for an insert, really. You could probably stuff some dividers and inserts in there, but primarily I would probably just put loose items that are not photography related or loosely related that are not going to have a problem, being loose in the top area. But it's a very nice canvas material, a nice side buckle for your tripods, and a front opening here for quick access to your gear. So this is another one that opens in the front, $35. Okay, I mean this is and Mosisu, right? This brand is primarily a camera bag company, right? Everything I've seen from Mosiso has been mostly camera bags and backpacks. So they're not new to this, and they're considered one of the top brands in the bag and backpack space. So the quality of the bag and the construction is everything's going to be pretty decent. Again, these are 3 to 5 year type products, not 10, 25 year products. You use them until they wear out, then you buy another one, right? Because some of us only use the backpack a couple of times a year, like myself. I only use it a few times a year. This backpack will last me forever. But if you're a regular user of backpacks, I would give it a 3 to 5 year life, uh, just based on the price point, not based on hands-on experience with it. But we know, right? We know based on the price point. Okay, this strap, I paid $8 for this strap myself. It shows right here I purchased. Uh, this is a great strap for our Micro Four Thirds cameras. I got the blue one and I paid $8. I thought I got a good deal. Right now they sold out of the blue and now you can get the green one. But what's really nice about this is it's very thin, lightweight. Uh, so when you put this in your bag, it doesn't it because I got straps that are bigger than my camera, okay, that I don't use because they're bigger than my camera when I put them in my bag. After I fold them up and put them in, it's ridiculous. So I'm always looking for smaller straps for our smaller cameras, right? Like my OM3 here. And what's particularly good about this strap are the buckles here are very, very strong. They're small, but they're not the cheap plasticky kind that can break with a little bit of stress. This one is really good. Let me, I think there might be a little bit of a, let me try, see if that makes any difference. I think there's a little bit of syncing problem. So I just changed the delay. So let me know if the lip syncing is a little better or not than before. I should have checked that before I went online. But anyhow, um, so I like this strap for $5. Man, you can't beat that. Okay, and it's of course it's fully adjustable. So if you're a taller person, you're not going to have any problems with this. It's more than long enough for tall people. For example, I have this strap for me because I'm 5'8". I'm not very tall, and I have this adjusted all the way to its smallest adjustment, and this fits me perfectly. Um, so if you're a taller person, you can extend this strap quite a bit. And everything here is very thin, lightweight, easy to pack, really good buckles. That's key. Very, very good buckles. It has this other additional buckle up here so that you can use it as a wrist strap. That seems kind of silly to me. Uh, so just ignore that. Whatever it says in the marketing material, just ignore that. It's not practical as a wrist strap, but as a regular strap, this is perfect for all of our Micro Four Thirds cameras, from the OM1 all the way down to the EM10s, okay, and the pen cameras, because of the very 1 inch strap. Basically, it's not very thick, and you just drop this in your bag, and it doesn't take up any room. As you can see, I can just stuff this right in my bag, because I hate those straps that just are so bulky sometimes. Anyway, that's a lot of talk for a $5 strap, but I just wanted to stress that. And then this is a new product. It's not on sale, but it's a reasonable price. There's 20% coupon now. I missed that. So this is going to be like $25, right? Because 10% would be three, so takes basically $8 off. Yeah, $26. And there's an additional $3 coupon. Oh man, I think I might just add this to my cart. That's cool. Um, but basically, what this is a wireless trigger system for manual flashes. So you're going to only be able to shoot. I'm sorry, you're only going to be able to shoot in manual mode. Sorry, I didn't have the screen up. But this is, you're going to be able to shoot in manual mode, and and shoot your flashes wirelessly. It's very small and compact. Takes up no room on your camera, so it's not going to be bulky like a lot of radio triggers. And you can use this with any flash that has a single pin, right? Which is basically all of them. Uh, I'm not sure if the Sony flashes will fit in here. I think it will. It may not. Sony flashes that have the pins on the front may not fit all the way in, because I can't use my Sony flashes on my Olympus cameras because of the way the center pin lines up. But if you have a Canon, Nikon, Olympus, Panasonic, just about any other flash, generic flashes, manual flashes, this trigger will work. And it's 20% off for $26, and then maybe another $3.40 off. So that would make it $22.60 for a wireless trigger that'll work with any flash. So if you have the Godox, say, IT the Godox IM30, or one of the other manual small flashes, you can now easily use it off camera, right? Or the TT350, you don't have to buy the $80 trigger. You can just get this for 20 whatever dollars and use your TT350 off camera. So I really like this. For in $20 price range, I might get this, even though I don't need another trigger. I got so many, but that's really useful. And then one last thing I'll talk about these. Let me just get to the strap real quick. $8 for an elastic strap. This also has a very, very good buckle. Looks like a very comfortable strap for $8. A little bit thicker, about 1.5 inches on the width here. Uh, but if this works for you, uh, if you've been looking for something like this, it's a really good deal right now, 50% off. So I just threw that in there. It's got great reviews here, 4.6 stars. But it's not a quick release type strap. This is the kind of strap, once you put it on, it's a pain to take it on and off. Unless you buy separately, like I have this in my shopping cart. I bought this pack here separately to make any strap a quick release strap, right? For $10, you get 6 buckles, so you can do 3 cameras and use the same strap on all 3 cameras, right? And I have that on my deal page down here somewhere. Yeah, down here. If you scroll down, you can get these in. And then, a lot of the stuff down here are kind of my greatest hits. All of these are great products down here that you want to check out. But the last thing I'll talk about before I go to the chat section, and we'll just go into answering questions, is this right here. Mine finally came in. Oh, excuse me. My ribs are still hurt. I cracked my rib about 2 weeks ago. It still hurts a little bit. Um, where is it? I just had it. I lost one of my other triggers. I lost my little Godox X3 trigger because it's so small, but I have it here. So what seems to be popular recently, because of the recent release of the Godox IM30, the small flashes, they don't tilt or anything. So you can add a little riser to get the flash up higher so you don't get that shadow effect when you're using longer lenses. A lot of times, because the flash is kind of close to the body, you get a little bit of shadow towards the bottom of your image. So this riser, raises the flash up higher, so you mitigate that effect. Also, uh, it tilts. So, because those little flashes, they don't tilt, right? Let me just get a flash. It's the IM30. Okay, so here's the IM30 flash. It's more ideal for this. You could even combine this with that wireless radio trigger I showed you, right? But I bought this for two reasons. One is obviously because now I can raise this flash up a lot higher. There's also a PC sync port here too, which is really great for an OM3 because the OM3 doesn't have a PC sync port. But so now I can use this to fire manually my off-camera flashes. But this also tilts, right? So if you want a little bounce flash, you can tilt this up. You can even tilt it forward a little bit if you don't have a long, like I'm using the kit lens and I'm doing, say, some macro photography, I can tilt this lens down, right? And get even more light onto the subject. So a lot of people are asking me about the riser that's coming from Godox, which is TTL compatible. So that's going to be a multi-pin hot shoe. This one here is a single pin, just right there in the middle. Okay, so this is for manual flashes. I could certainly use it with anything but a Sony version because these Sony ones have the pins on the front, so it doesn't slide in all the way. I can try. Oh, this one might work actually. Let me try. Let's see if this will fire. So mechanical shutter. Take it out of bracketing mode, maybe. Okay. Now I can go on mechanical shutter. Manual mode, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, it doesn't line up. That should be firing, but it's not. So let's try it with the IM30. This just came in yesterday, so I haven't even tried it yet. Let me power this up. So we'll get this. This should fire. Let me put a memory card back in. Okay, that fired. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you see it recycling now? And once that turns green, I'll fire again. And it's recycling. So it's definitely firing. As you can see from the photo, I overexposed it. So now I can tilt this up if I want a little bounce flash. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if I could put this in backwards and do rear bounce. Let's try it. No, it's not going to line up. Never mind. The pin is a little bit off center, so it won't line up if I put it on backwards. Okay, wishful thinking. The only thing they could have done to make this a little better is if that you could rotate this, right? Rotate the thing. Now the Godox one that's coming out is going to be TTL compatible, so it's going to work with their IT30 flashes. And if you need TTL compatibility, high-speed sync, all of that, I don't see why you would need it for such a small flash, but if you want that, you have to get the Godox one. The only thing the Godox one does that does not do that this one does is the Godox one doesn't tilt forward. Okay, this is not a big deal, but uh, the Godox one only tilts backwards. Now, the reason I got this primarily was not so much for flashes like this, even though I might use it this way. I got it because of the PC sync port, because my OM3 doesn't have one. And I have flashes that I'd like to fire with a PC sync port sometimes. But I got it primarily because I fire all my flashes in manual mode anyway. I never use TTL. It's not reliable. It's very rare. But a lot of the times my problem is the camera will be on a tripod and I have to kind of stand up because I'm not very tall, right? And it's hard for me to see the display on top of the camera because it's just too high up for me. So now I can just tilt this back, and now I can use the trigger. Again, this would be for tripod use primarily. But now I can tilt the trigger up and use it and see the display very, very easily and control everything without having to kind of, do that, right? Uh, there's been many times where I had to take the flash, the trigger off the camera, make the change, and then put it back on because I just couldn't see the display. So I really like it for this. Again, this one is going to be for manual mode only. You're going to have to wait till the end of September before the TTL version comes out. But this one is only $14, right? So I think this is a great accessory to have uh, for all the reasons I just showed. Okay, all right. So uh, and again, the rest of the stuff are kind of my greatest hits. All good stuff down here. $25 messenger bag, $35 one. I've talked about these before. 14 terabyte hard drive for $199. That's a steal. Some LED lighting, some brackets, filter removers. I love these filters. I use all of these. This is a great deal. Half price on this monopod. It's hard to beat. Some great tripods and all kinds of stuff in here. If you have any questions about anything else in here, I'll be happy to answer any questions on that. But uh, for those of you that come to my live streams on a regular basis, I've talked about all this stuff uh, at length in past live streams, but I'm happy to answer any questions about these. So um, that's all I had for today on my live stream, or for my shopping anyway. And so use my affiliate links down below. I'll make a couple bucks. It really supports, the things that I do here for you guys, and it makes it just it's greatly appreciated. Okay, so let me take a look at the chat section, and I see Henning's here. Good to see you, and Intrigue, and Marcia, David. Too bad you couldn't go with us this morning. Uh, it was rough because we'd walk for about 10 or 15 minutes before we saw something. And then it was like a good hour in between when we saw something good. You know what I mean? But I did end up getting some pictures. So I'll share those with you after I get through the chat section here. Kevin, good to see you. Kevin in Florida as well. I don't know, Marcia, have you ever heard of Kevin Hawthorne? He's kind of a local celebrity, I think, in his town. So you may not have never heard of him, but uh, and Greg is asking, any thoughts on the Ricoh GR series in general and the upcoming version 4? I haven't seen much about the version 4, other than it's maybe a little smaller, has IBIS. maybe a better lens. I mean, let's just given let's just say given it's an improvement over the GR3, right? Whatever the focal length is, people have different preferences there. My problem with the GR4 series is there's no EVF and it's fixed lens. And the lack of EVF is not a deal breaker in of itself, because I have cameras without an EVF and I can get by when it's that small. I get it. If I want ultimate compact size and portability, I can live without the EVF, even though it's a very high priority for me. It's a respectable compromise when you want the ultimate portability, which the GR series gives you. So I'll give them that. What's a deal breaker for me is that it's not an interchangeable lens system. And I just can't see myself going out with a fixed lens, a fixed focal length. That would so limit the usability for me, because I like to go out with a camera with all different kinds of focal lengths, at least have a range. So personally, I much prefer, if we're talking about something you can buy now, I would much prefer the Leica Deluxe 8. If you can find one on the used market, the LX100 Mark II, which is identical in terms of image quality and performance. It's very different in terms of menu system and build and all of that. But the image quality, the lens, the functionality, actually the LX100 Mark II has more functionality than the Deluxe 8. And you can usually find it for about half the price of a Deluxe 8, but you have to buy used. But the Deluxe 8, I think, is a better option because it has a zoom range between 24 and 75, and that's much more usable to me. And it's still relatively compact. It's not pocketable like a GR3 or GR4 is. Certainly no. But it does have a viewfinder, which is a plus, uh, and it has a zoom lens on it, at least. The TG5, or well, I guess the TG7 now, has a zoom lens, but no EVF. But it's more compact and has other pluses, durability and weatherproofing and all of that. So I love the TG series, and it's probably more than half the price. It's probably less than, it's probably half the price of a GR camera, right? Now the compromise being is you have a tiny sensor, 1/2.3. Uh, but that's not a deal breaker for me, because I still get great images from it. Even with a 2.3 sensor, it's no big deal. It's not going to be a low light king, right? The GR is going to certainly do a much better job and maybe more appropriate, because of the larger sensor. You're going to get much better low light capability with an APS-C sensor than you ever will with a 1/2.3. But for everyday photography in decent light, I mean, I'm talking about from like morning to afternoon, not dawn, not like pre-sunrise or post-sunrise, then it's going to struggle a little bit. I still do it, but because I don't mind the noise so much. I like it in some cases. But yeah, there's no question the image quality out of the GR series is going to be way better than a TG7. It's also going to be better than another very comparable camera is the Sony ZV-1 and ZV-1 Mark II. These are the little 1-inch sensor compacts, that are selling for less than a GR series. The image quality is going to be not as good as the GR again, but much better than, say, the TG7. No EVF. I don't think it even has real image stabilization. It probably has the digital one, but supposedly it works pretty well. I would look at, honestly, I would look at a Sony ZV-1, the little one. I'm pretty sure I got that right. ZV-1. I always get the Sony models kind of mixed up. Sony ZV-1. Yeah, they have different variations of this. There's a ZV-1F with a fixed lens. Forget it. Sony ZV-1 with a zoom lens. The ZV-1 has a 24 to 75. I think that's a much more usable focal range for photography. But they have a ZV-1 Mark II, which is basically the same camera, but just a wider angle lens. This one I think goes from 18 millimeters to 50. So it's not quite as usable for photography. It's better for vlogging because you want the wider angle, but for photography, not so much. I think these are excellent alternatives to the GR series for me because of the zoom lens. Uh, if I'm going to go with a fixed lens camera, I'm going to want at least it to be a zoom lens, and the ZV-1s are certainly pocketable. But the GR series, if you want the ultimate image quality, because of the APS-C sensor and the excellent lens, the image stabilization, and really good portability, you can put this in your pocket easily. You can easily put a GR in your pocket. That's hard to beat. So if you're fine with the fixed lens, then, with that focal length, I think the GR series is great. And I've heard issues of like dust getting inside, and it's virtually impossible to get the dust off the sensor once it gets on the sensor. I don't know how prevalent that is. Maybe do a little due diligence in the forums, for the GR series and see what other user experience is with that. Because I don't know. I know Peter Forsgaard and uh, Maddie Salanto, even Robin Wong, even though he doesn't own one, talked about a little bit of dust on their sensor, and it's hard to get off. But it doesn't bother them. It's not bad if they got any at all. So, but I would check the forums. User experience is always a little bit more fluid, meaning you'll get more people talking about it than just those of us here on YouTube that own the camera, right? It's not quite the same. So I like the GR series for what it is, but it was not the camera for me because of the fixed lens. Okay, and then just hoping they address the dust in the yeah, so yeah, Greg just mentioned the same thing I was talking about. I'm sorry, Henning just mentioned it. And hi Rob, thanks for your expertise. I ordered the Sure SVM 165. Great price yeah, that is a great monopod. Great monopod, no question. If you're going to use it with a long lens, you want to get this thing also. Let me find it real quick. Do I have it here? Yeah, I think I have it out, but I have it here. This is an expensive one, right? But the one that I bought is very similar to this. Let's see if I even have the one that I bought in here anymore. This is not the exact one I bought, but it looks like an exact copy of the one that I bought. So $35. This is actually pretty good. It works pretty well, just as well as any gimbal. So for $35 or $36, well, there's a dollar off. So $35, I would get this in addition to the monopod. And thank you so much for using my affiliate link to purchase that. It's greatly appreciated. I would recommend getting that. Okay. Um, and Hire says, what lighting would you bring to someone's workplace to take headshots and casual work shots? Okay, so if we're talking about in a workplace, you don't need powerful lighting. So I would just use Godox V1s. Any flash that has like 76 watt seconds, between 50 and 76 watts, or a guide number of 50 or higher, like a GN50, GN60, these types of flashes. Now, I use Godox primarily because they are the only ones that make flashes for the OM system cameras. So I have on my page here flash photography. So I'll talk about a couple of these. Um, okay, if you're on a budget, the TT600 is an awesome deal, $65. And this is like a GN, this has a guide number of 60, I believe. It's more than bright enough. The only downside to the TT600 is it uses 4 AA batteries. So you're going to want to bring extra batteries, okay? And the recycle times are a bit slower because of the AA batteries. Get good AA batteries like some envelopes or some rechargeable lithium ions. So you get the maximum capacity per recharge of your AA's. But then that adds to the cost, overall cost, right? Because you're adding another $20, $30 in batteries, rechargeable batteries, to the price of the flash. Whereas you can buy lithium ion flashes like this one. That's a great flash, but let's talk about the Godox V1. I don't know what brand of camera you use, but if it's Olympus, the Godox is the only one right now. This is a good deal for the Godox V1. Comes with the lithium ion charger and battery. So this still costs twice as much as the TT600, but you get very fast recycle times, long battery life, and you get excellent light output. So I would definitely recommend this light, uh, if not two or three of them. You know, another light that's really good is it's not out yet for Olympus. Let me see. You may want to get one of these triggers. This one's good enough. You don't need to get this one has Bluetooth and app stuff on it if you want to control the flashes with your app. But what's wrong with controlling it directly from the controller? Why use an app? I hate apps. Okay. Uh, so you can get this one. You can also get the touchscreen version. I'm not a big fan of touchscreens, so I'm not too upset that I lost it because it's so small. But if portability is your primary concern, the X3 here is very small. It's only, this big. But these are easier to use with multiple flashes because of the larger display. But functionally, these are basically all the same. So I would go there. Also, there are some more generic flashes, but yeah, this is the best budget option. Works great. Just add about $30 for batteries, okay? And then next up would be this. This is at a good deal right now, the Godox V1. And then in addition to this, you're going to need light stands and umbrellas. Okay, that's the cheapest way to go. Because you said casual, so that kind of implies you need more budget type gear, right? So if we go back to my shopping page and down here, studio and portrait. Uh, oh, this is out. This used to be like $25. I really like these light stands. Let me see. This is a good set, but they're kind of heavy. $59, you can get two stainless steel light stands, and they're pretty tall at 79 inches, so tall enough for doing casual workplace type stuff. The only downside to these is they're a little bit heavy and bulky. They don't collapse down to a real small size. If that's not an issue, these are great light stands, very solid, very durable, rugged. You can use these day in and day out if you travel a lot. If you're just occasionally doing uh, work with light stands, I really like I really like these ones from Terrion, August 18th. I like these. They're 6.6 foot. So basically, your subjects need to be sitting on a chair or a stool. It can be a tall stool like a bar stool. But standing, this is a little bit short for people standing, but it's perfect for people sitting on a stool or a chair for doing headshots and portraits and things. Because now you can put the umbrella a little bit higher above the person. So $25 for one. You're gonna need two of these. And I like these because of the legs, right? These are very, very stable and adjustable like a tripod. So I like these for $25. And then any set of umbrellas. Uh, let's see, I have some parabolic one. No, not that one. This is a good set here. This is a 4-pack for $29. You get the shoot-through umbrellas, white, and you also get the reflector type umbrellas if you need to direct the light a little bit more, and they're a little bit more specular. So if you don't want that specular look on your subjects, you might want to use a black mist filter. I like to use black mist filters when I'm doing portraits. It helps reduce some of the shine on people's faces and softens it up a bit. But this is a great set. 4 umbrellas for $29, right? So what does that work out to? Like $6 a piece. That, that's hard to beat. Well, about $7 a piece, right? This is hard to beat when it comes to umbrellas. 2 shoot-throughs and 2 reflectors give you a lot of options. So you don't, the shoot-throughs are going to spill light everywhere, forward and backwards in a 360 pattern. The reflective umbrellas, you can direct the light a little bit more, so you're not getting reflections and color casting and all kinds of other problems that happen when you have shoot-through umbrellas. The reflector type umbrellas are great, but they're usually like a shiny silver reflector, so you may want to use a quarter mist filter in addition to this. So um, that's those are the products. In terms of how I would light a portrait, I would use 2 flashes facing forward from each side, so I get even lighting on both sides. If I wanted it a little bit uneven, I would just reduce the power on the left side or right side. I would reduce the power on one side to like half power, and I would use the other one at full power. Just as an example, it could be like 1/32 on one side and 1/64 on the other, and that way you get sort of a 2-to-1 lighting ratio, which is very popular with portraits. Uh, so that would be a typical way. And there's lots of tutorials online for lighting portraits with 2 lights. If you want to get really fancy with 3 lights, then I would have the 2 lights in front and put 1 light in the back as a kicker or rim lighting for the shoulder. And then you can get some really very usable portraits, right? Very serviceable portraits is what they would say. Nothing super creative, but serviceable in the sense that they're going to create very beautiful soft light with the nice rim lighting for good separation. So you may want to think about a backdrop as well. Backdrops, they sell the light stands and backdrops for between $30 to $50 in that price range. Just go with a standard gray backdrop. The gray backdrop is great because you can white balance against the gray backdrop. Makes white balancing very, very easy. Uh, so that's what I would do. I don't think you need more than 3 lights, but now we're talking like $600, right? For 3 lights, and then you need a trigger, another $100 there with batteries. And then the light stands, and the umbrellas, maybe another $100 there. So we're talking 6, 7, 8, about $800. You can get a really nice 3-light setup using umbrellas, and a backdrop, another $100. So you know, between let's just say about between $800 and $900, you can get an excellent portrait lighting setup for just about any situation, uh, in any lighting conditions. Yeah, I think that's what I would do for a workplace, and that's what I have done in the past, is a 3 light setup, you know, fill light or key light, fill light, rim light, right? And a great backdrop. And I've done tons of portraits like that, for, like, Christmas parties and, other events where I needed to do portraits. That's the lighting setup that I use: key light, fill light, rim light, and a trigger with my camera. Okay, so I hope that helps, and just start on my shopping page. Look for the gear that's going to be compatible with your camera system. I'll see if you mentioned it here, but look for gear that's compatible with your camera system because you might as well get TTL stuff, right? In case you want to experiment with high-speed sync and other features, multi-strobic flash, things like that that uh, you get with TTL. It's an investment. So, but it's not a huge investment, but it is an investment, right? Because lenses cost more than that entire setup. But that said, uh, you'll get much better. I use a kit lens for my portraits a lot of times. Like my 12 to 40 Pro finally died on me. David Crooks was with me when that happened, but my 12 to 40 finally died on me the other day. That thing has been through hell and back. I mean, it's been literally through ice storms, like filled up with ice inside. And I had to thaw it out for a month, and it still worked for many years after that. But I think it's just finally it just died. I can't get it to work. But I've decided I might just use my kit lens because the kit lens is not overly sharp like the pro lenses are. Because the pro lenses, I'm always using quarter mist filters to soften the skin a little bit. I don't need that clinical sharpness. But if I use a kit lens, I probably don't even have to worry about, uh, a quarter mist filter because it's not tack sharp, right? Also, when you have really good lighting, the picture is going to look amazing. All of the self portraits that you saw on my Flickr page and other places, 9 times out of 10, I was using a kit lens with those shots because I don't need the shallow depth of field because I'm using lighting to separate my subject from the background, the rim lighting in this case, with a gray backdrop sometimes. So, okay, hopefully that helped you out. And the V1 is way too big on the OM3, looks a bit ridiculous using it off camera actually because of this very reason. Yes, it is big on the Micro Four Thirds cameras. Uh, when I do events, I use it on my OM1. I don't, when I use my OM3, I actually use the Godox Lux Master, which has a separate handle. It's off camera. It doesn't go on top of the hot shoe, and I use it off camera with a trigger. I'd rather use it with a PC sync port, but the OM3 doesn't have one. But that's like a vintage looking setup. It's a lot of fun for events, but uh, yes, I used the OM3 this morning actually with the V1 for one of my shots. So I'll share a couple of pictures. I'm almost done with the chat, it looks like. Where's my OM3? Here. So here's the OM3. I mean, it is giant on here. Especially I got like a little kit lens on here, but I used it this morning to take. I only took one picture. It's a little rough this morning, photo walk, but there it is. Just to give you some perspective of the OM3 with the V1. Really, any full size flash is giant on an OM3, but I'll use like a radio trigger, you know, either the X3 if I ever find it again, or I might I might get the Olympus version of the IM30 because you can use this as a trigger also. Uh, and it's cheaper than an X3 and it's a flash. So I think rather than get an X3, if you don't mind touchscreen, this is a better way to go once it comes out. If you have an Olympus camera, the IT30 is the way to go. And I'm Rob. I'm following you from Istanbul, Turkey. I bought the DxO Pure Raw 5 with your discount code. I'm very happy with it. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Leviathan. I really appreciate the support with DxO. I'm going to be doing I think it's tomorrow. My schedule a little bit messed up this week because I have so many things going on. But yeah, I do photo editing live streams. And yeah, Pure Raw is amazing. It really is. It's a great product. And how Hire says, I'm using Olympus cameras with Kodak Speedlight, not the V1. Wasn't sure if a Speedlight was enough. I bought the Terion light stands through your links. Don't have the umbrellas. Thanks. Okay, cool. So, uh, yeah, if you have Kodak Speedlights like the TT600s or some variation, they have a lot of variations, right? Between the TT600 and the V1 Pros. There's a big range there. Any of those from the TT600 and up are going to be more than enough power for workplace. Just get your umbrellas, and you have the light stands. Thank you for your support, and maybe get a couple extra light stands. Get at least 3 light stands so you can do a 3 light setup, and a couple of TT600s. Just watch the recycle times on those. That it's not bad when the batteries are fully charged, but as they start to drain, your recycle times go to 2, 3, 4 seconds. And I don't know how many headshots you need to do per hour, but that's when that becomes a problem. If you're just doing a headshot and the next person 2 or 3 headshots a day or something, then yeah, TT600 is fine. But there are headshot mills that go in there and they'll do one every 2 minutes. They'll do 30 headshots in an hour and they're done, right? For like a real estate office or whatever. And I'm using the Panasonic G90 12-42 kit lens. I think it's a 12-32, but I'm not as familiar with Panasonic lenses. I have a question for which would you prefer? Okay. A 12-42.8 macro, 75-300 Mark II, or Panasonic 12-35 2. Okay. Personally, I would go with the Panasonic 12-35 and the 35-100 and the 100-300. Because you're not just because you're using a Panasonic, although that has a big influence on my rationale here. But I love the 35-100 2.8. I have that lens. It's very compact, enough range for doing events. The 12-35 is smaller than 12-42.8, and a little bigger than 12-45 f4, but it's a 2.8, good range. So I would go 12-35, 35-100. You can get both of those used right now combined for probably, I would say about $800 for the pair. KEH, MPP, wherever, eBay. You can get a pair of those for $800. And then the 100-300, that's easily $100, $200 more than the 75-300. But the 100-300, I believe, has image stabilization in the lens, and that's going to sync with the image stabilization in the G90. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that is the case. So ultimately, you're going to get better performance. In addition to that, only Panasonic lenses work with the depth from the focus autofocus system in the Panasonic. So if you want better autofocusing, you need to use Panasonic lenses with your Panasonic cameras to get the DFD algorithm working in your favor. Because when you put an Olympus lens on a Panasonic body, it's only going to work with contrast detect in a G90. And there's going to be a little bit of hunting, and it may or may not be as accurate. I never had any problems, but because you're on a Panasonic system, go with the Panasonic lenses. If you're on an Olympus system, there's no downside to using Panasonic lenses, none at all. But there is a downside when you use Olympus lenses on Panasonic bodies because of that depth from defocus algorithm being basically inactive. So I would definitely go with the Panasonics. They're fabulous lenses, tack sharp. I'm shopping the 12 to 35 right now. Uh, right here, right here. Oh, the price went up. Oh, come on. This thing was 10% off this morning. I could have got this for $369 or something. Well, anyway, I'm looking at this lens, 400 bucks. I should have bought it this morning. Oh, there's the coupon code. I have to, okay. So it is 361. I'm thinking about this because like I was saying, my 12 to 40 died, and I'm thinking about replacing with this because it's a little smaller, more compact. There's no downside to using it with the OM system cameras, other than I'm going to lose in-camera stacking and I'm going to lose 50 frames per second. But with a 12 to 35 lens, those things are not that important. If I'm going to do image stacking, I'm going to use my 60 macro. And if I'm going to be doing 50 frames per second, I'm going to be using my 300 f4. So losing those features with the Panasonic lens is not a deal breaker at this focal range. So what I like about it, it's smaller and lighter than the 12 to 40. It also has the 58 millimeter filter thread, which I have a lot of filters in that filter size that I can just put on there without using a step ring. Which, not that I mind step rings, but it's nice when the filters just fit, right? Instead of going with a step ring and trying to find, oh my God, I'm like in step ring hell all the time. I mean, you know, it's the way it is, right? It is what it is. But uh so yeah, anyway, that's what I would do. Definitely go with all Panasonic with your Panasonic camera. And then Henning says for batteries, get the black Panasonic Antelope Pro. You'll have fewer problems left with, yes, Antelope, a little bit pricey, 30 bucks, I think, for like four of them. They're not cheap. But if you want absolute reliability, maximum recycle times, like minimum recycle times, I should say, right? The Antelopes have proven time and time again by professionals, those are the best. I don't buy the Antelopes personally because they're so pricey. And the flashes that I use batteries in, it's not critical for me to have fast recycle times or extended battery life. I just bring extras. But if I was using a TT600 and I needed it for my professional work, or I just wanted the best performance out of my TT600 without buying a V1 or some other flash, I would definitely get the Antelope Pros. But it's a low priority for me because I have V1s and other lithium ion flashes. Uh, but thank you again, Henning, for your feedback. It's greatly appreciated because you're bringing up a lot of great points and reinforcing some of the things I've been saying, but also elaborating and jogging my memory to kind of explain things as well. So it helps me out a lot. Shri, hey Shri, how are you? Says I want the Panasonic 9mm 1.7. I don't like the 7 to 14 for Astra, at least on the OM5. I've not used that lens or have that lens. I have the 8mm. You have the 8mm fisheye. I don't think you need this lens. The 8mm fisheye is better than this. It's wider. It's easily the distortion, the fisheye distortion is not that bad. It's easily corrected, and it's an excellent lens. What don't you like about your fisheye lens? 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's one of the lenses you have. It's great for astro. I can see why the 7 to 14 may not be a favorite because it is kind of bulky and it's a 2.8. When you can get more than a stop, like 1 and a third to 1.5 stops more light with some of the other lenses, right? And John is also seconding recommendation for Panasonic envelopes. Pricey, yes. Worth it, yes. Absolutely, yes. So definitely look into some envelopes. I'm always offering cheap alternatives like these rechargeable lithium ions. They work great, but the recycle times are but slow. The envelopes are going to be faster. We're talking about maybe 4 to 6 seconds recycle time on a TT350 with envelopes. With my lithium ion ones that I shill here, they're great batteries. They're cheap, but the recycle times are like 10 to 15 seconds on a TT350. So it's a big difference. For me, it's not critical, the recycle time. But going back to what I said, if you want maximum performance from your flash, you need to buy maximum batteries, envelopes. Okay. Yeah, like the 8 millimeter, hard to figure out the foreground landscape alignment. Well, there's a button on the camera to show you the rectilinear image. Uh, so you turn on the fisheye correction in camera, and then it'll show you in the live view the rectilinear image. So maybe that's all you need to do, and then you'll be okay with lining up things. All right, awesome. I caught up on the chat. So let me show you a couple of images that I took today. I got to close some of these tabs down before my computer crashes. Tree, you were supposed to go with us today, man. What happened? Um, okay, so here's one I took this morning with the Godox V1 and OM3 with a flash. So that's why the background is almost black. This is basically straight out of camera. I darkened the background a little bit more in post-processing, but yeah, this is pretty much straight out of camera using flash and my little pocket diffuser, right, with the Godox V1. Um, this is the EM5 Mark III with the 300 f4 and teleconverter. Just beautiful images. You can do birding with the EM5 Mark III. It's not as good as an OM1 or OM3, of course, but I got pretty decent hit rate. I was kind of surprised, even with the birds. And now these are large birds, okay? The egrets, herons, osprey, no problem with an EM5 Mark III because the targets are so large, the autofocus can pick them up pretty easy. Smaller birds like this one, yeah, this is bird on a stick territory. EM5 Mark III is fine with this, right? I got great focus with it here. I don't know what this bird is. I think it's a crackle, common crackle, but it's a little bit beat up. Having a little rough summer there. And then this is a dragonfly. This one is not focus stacked. I have another image that I stacked that I'll show you, but there's still really good sharpness here, even without focus stacking. Uh, so this came out great. And here's another one. And just for reference, I use DxO. This is ISO 4000. All right, let's punch in. ISO 4000, but look at all of the detail I was able to pull out with DxO's products. I'm using Photolab, which has the deep prime, but the same thing as the um, DxO Pure Raw 5. I'm getting awesome detail, high ISO. And of course, a pro lens, right? Helps a lot too. Here's another one. This one is ISO 3200. Great detail here again. And let's go to this one. This one's heavily cropped, so the detail's not great. But the reason I kept this picture is because the bird is eating a lanternfly. The lanternfly here in the United States is an invasive species with no natural predators. But I think finally birds are starting to realize they can eat these things. Now, the lanternfly is colored and spotted in a way to look like they're poisonous, but they're not poisonous to birds. But birds shy away from them because of their color and patterns, because typically those kinds of bugs are poisonous. And that's why they don't have any natural predators. But I hope that the birds wake up and become a natural predator to these lanternflies because they are destroying crops and trees and just causing all kinds of havoc. I got an infestation in my own backyard, which I'm trying to mitigate without pesticides, and it's not easy. These things are these things are crazy. So that's why I kept this picture. I was so happy to see a bird eating a lanternfly. I'm like, yay, this rocks. Because finally, if the birds start to realize they can eat these things, we will we will be able to control the lanternfly infestation that we have here. This is just a butterfly captured. Nothing special. He's a little beat up, but this is a warbler. He caught a little bug here, and I'm at ISO 6400. Still, great detail was pulled out of this shot. I can see the little legs on the insect, and this is cropped in down to just 5 megapixels. This is a 5 megapixel image. There's probably only about 2 or 3 megapixels on the bird itself. This was from the other day. I was using one of my filters. It's an actual physical filter. It's a swirly filter, and I got this effect. This is my kaleidoscope filter. I love filters. Uh, you know, I bought these filters last week, and they came in this week, so I couldn't wait to try them out. My kaleidoscope filter. This is my swirly filter. I have them on one of my pages, on my shopping pages. Where did I put it? Is this it? This is it. So this is my swirly filter. So if I put it up to the webcam here, you can see what it does. So this is kind of fun to play with. And then I have my kaleidoscope filter. This just came in the other day. I got this for $12. I talked about this on my I think last week. I think I talked about this last week. Oh no, these are my infrareds. Where's my here it is. This just came in. It's my kaleidoscope filter. So you can rotate it. You get it just right, you know. Anyway, uh when they go on sale, not they're back up to $25, but when they go on sale again, I'm gonna get hopefully in a different size. Because this is a 77 millimeter, which fits my Pentax monochrome lens, my 17 to 50 Sigma, this giant honking lens with a 77 millimeter thread. But I want to get some for my Micro Four Third lenses, like at 58 millimeters. That would be ideal. And oh, Robert's here. Good to see you. And yeah, you mentioned you had a doctor's appointment. It's better not to be late to that, right? Yeah, I get it. No big deal. We'll go out again. And thank you, Robert, about the like button. I appreciate it. Swirly looks like 007. Yeah, a little bit, right? This guy. I've gotten some really cool effects with this lens, though. I've showed them before. Let me see if I can find it. Um, This is my favorite shot with the kaleidoscope filter. Again, on my monochrome camera, and then I just gave it some sepia tint with some blue uh, color, whatever. But I love this image. It didn't get a lot of likes on Instagram, but who cares, right? I love that image. Uh, here's one with the kaleidoscope filter. This is more like what people think about when they think about a kaleidoscope filter. It's just the sunflower in the center. Here's another one with my puppy Ellie. Um, but the swirly filter can really do some crazy things if I can find it. I probably already archived them, but they're easy to spot. I love star filters too, starburst filters. Um, oh, here's one. So here's another one with swirly filter. That's kind of cool, right? Uh, where's let me we're getting close. Oh, here. This is what the swirly filter works great with fireworks. I think this is on my monochrome camera. But it's kind of cool, right? When you got a lot of speculars, the swirly filter kind of makes all of these lines kind of crazy. This is one of my starburst filters. This is a 6-point starburst. Again, great with this, in this case, Christmas lighting, but any kind of speculars. The starburst filter is great. Um, so well, I don't have them on my deal page. Oh, I do. So what page is, oh, it's in my studio and portrait. So here's the swirly filter, and here's the kaleidoscope filter from K&F. And like I said, I bought mine at half price. So if you're gonna buy from K&F, this is a good deal. But I was able to find some generic. Let me see if I can find them. It might be, oh, here. Yeah, this is the one that I bought. Uh, it just came in the other day. It's still 18% off. They have a 58 millimeter. Let's see. 18%. If I do this and do this, maybe I can get this for a decent price. The 58 millimeter. And it comes in two versions. You have the kaleidoscope, which is what I got. They also have the subtle kaleidoscope, which just uh, doesn't have as many, it just doesn't have as many angles to it. That's all. But this is not bad. Let me add this to my cart. I'll have to see what happens when I go to check out if I can get that deal or not. So if you go to my shop, this is the link, Amazon.com. Let me just put it in the chat. Um, if you go to my shop and click on one of the photos, these photos are examples of the kaleidoscope one. I need to put some in for the swirly filter. But we're here just to have fun with our hobby here. We're enthusiasts, and at least from my perspective, this is why I love photography, because you can just kind of experiment with all kinds of different things. And if you can get them cheap, like I got this filter, it's all glass, came in the pouch with a microfiber cloth for like $12. When you can get a deal, and that's what I try to do every week, is find deals like this. I'm pretty sure I talked about this last week. I hope some of you got it. I didn't see any like in the sales page because Amazon tells me what people bought. Doesn't tell me who bought what, but I know what was sold, so it helps me supposedly helps me promote the same product over and over again. But I'm promoting products a little bit random in a sense of what's the best deal today. So this is the best $12 I ever spent, even if those are the only pictures I ever take. If I never use it again, I got my money's worth because I had so much fun with it, you know? Um, Heck, I pay more for parking than I paid for this filter and didn't have as much fun. So anyhow, that's that. I think it'll fit the 300 millimeter. The 300 millimeter. I wonder what the ring size is on. I can't. I think it's a 77, right? I think the 300. So I might have to try it on my 300. I went out this morning with my 300. It's here in my bag. That's why I have it kind of handy. Let's try it. Where did I put it? I need to. I need to stay organized. Let me put some filters back before I. This is how I lost my little X3 trigger. I didn't put it back right away. So I'm going to put my swirly filter here. I can't emphasize enough. When you buy the filters and they come with a case, it helps you organize your filters. So I have my infrared filters in here. I have my starburst. I have my most common ones here. Uh, 10 stop ND, swirly filter, step ring, those kind of things, right? Oh man, I can't imagine using this for anything because the field of view is so tight. I might only get mostly the center. I'm curious, so let's see what happens. Let's see what it looks like. Man, check my minimum focus distance, 1.4 meters. Oh, battery empty. Of course, the battery's empty. If you have an OM5, EM5, yeah, always bring spares. And try to bring OEM spares, not generic battery spares. I buy generic batteries sometimes, but if you want maximum performance, what's my minimum? 1.4. So why is it not why is it not focusing? Let's try. My poor camera is struggling to focus with this filter on. How about over there? It won't even focus with this filter on. Let me come back. Because 1.4 meters, that's only like that much. Try manual focus, maybe. Okay, so it fits the 300, but the 300 won't focus. I have Ellie's blanket on the floor here, so it's binding up a chair. It won't focus onto 300. Nice idea, but when I manually focused it, I was able to see a little bit, but it was really blurry. So yeah, it's no use on the 300 because I can't think of any applications I would use it like that. But anywho, yeah, I tried. I got it to focus, but then it was really blurry. Like it just, I don't know. I have to try it though. Like you said, with a moonshot, maybe. I'll try it tonight. It's not a full moon anymore, but close enough, and it should be clear tonight. So we'll see. Um, okay. Any other questions or anything you guys want to talk about? Because I think um, I kind of hit everything I need to hit with the deals that I could find. Awesome. I'm gonna go to my cart. I can't show you my cart because it has my address and everything on it, but not that I care if you guys know where I live, but there's a lot of not spammers, but what do you call them? Hackers? No. Anyway, identity thieves. Once they have your real address and all the other BS that they can dig up through Facebook and stuff, they can pretty much fake anybody, right? Uh, so I did the 18% redeemed. What's the other percentage? 18%. Oh, that's all you get is 18%. Okay. So 18% of that is about $5. So it's 20. I don't know. I don't think $22 is worth it for something I'm going to use once in a blue moon. And then this device, 10% coupon clipped. The flash triggers. Let me see if I can add. What are the terms to get another $3? Save 10% with this. Apply coupon to your cart. Hmm. Okay, let me go to my cart. 30% there. Was there any other coupon on top? Sorry, I'm just kind of what I'm doing is I'm going back and forth between my cart and the products. So my cart, that I know there's no coupons. This one had, see, this is what I don't understand. $3. So this is just telling me I'm saving $3. I'm not actually getting, and 20% off with this coupon if you qualify shop items. So I did add this, right? Um, okay, let me go to my cart and see if the coupon's added up or not. So proceed to checkout because right now I'm at $98. So there's the $3.40. There's another $5 off for the kaleidoscope filter. And then reward points, that doesn't count. That's because I bought other stuff. So I'm only saving $8. So $5 on the kaleidoscope and $3.40 on the $3 ain't gonna cut it. So there's yeah. So here's the $3.40. Here's the $5 for the kaleidoscope. But why am I not getting why am I not getting 20% off? Because this is the big money, 20% off, right? Let me go to my cart again. Let me try this again. 10%. It just will not let me do more than 10%. Hmm. Add to cart. Let me try it this way. Nope. I'm not getting the 20% off on the wireless trigger. Okay, so yeah, don't bother. I mean, it's not a bad deal. 30 bucks for a wireless trigger, but it's not giving me 20%, it's giving me 10% off. The kaleidoscope, I'm getting $5 off. That's not gonna cut it. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till I can get it half off like I did this one. And then so I'm gonna delete the kaleidoscope. So I'm down to CPL ND filter. I really would rather have a 10 stop ND filter than a 4 stop because I don't really use this. The 77 millimeters for my monochrome camera. I can certainly use a CPL, but I'd rather have. I need to find a better deal. I'm gonna wait that out. This I'm still gonna get though. These are really handy. So let me just save that for now. I gotta find. Let me go back to my deal page. I could have sworn there was a 10 stop ND filter system. It was this one, right? Oh, they don't have a 77. That's why. Ah, and I already have filters at 58 millimeters that I don't need this set because I keep a list of filters. I have a spreadsheet, but yeah, I have this spreadsheet where here are some lenses, the ring size on the lens. The lens hood has a different ring size sometimes. And then I have what filter I have. So I have a lot of K&F and some other generic brands. But I like K&F a lot. There's a couple of B&Ws that I paid big money for. And then I have these are the step rings that I have left. So if I need to use a step ring, I'll take it out. This is like the bin, right? So I'll take it out and I'll drag it over here. So now I know I'm using that step ring and it's no longer available. But all of these step rings here should be, whoops, they should be here. So if I need a step ring, I can go to the spreadsheet and say, okay, I should have that step ring, and then I'll look for it in here. Like this, with my glasses on, of course. Oh, hey, Marco, you're here. You missed everything. I'm actually all done. So, but I'm glad you can make it finally. There's a lot of interesting stuff. Some good conversation, a few pictures I shared, and um, some questions on lighting. It was a very productive stream, I think, for a lot of viewers. So I'm really happy with that, and hopefully you guys got some good deals along the way. So I'll call it here, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support through the memberships and using my affiliate links. And I think I set up a stream for tomorrow to do photo editing. So with DxO, so look forward to that. And then next week I'm going to do a very special DxO thing. So stay tuned for that for next week. Very, very special DxO thing. I can't really say anything now, but next week I'll talk about it, uh, and I can go public with my DxO specials. So you guys have a and rub it in. Sorry, Marco. It was kind of an odd day for me. I'm a little bit off schedule this week, but um, the good thing is you can watch the replay at 2x speed, right? So you can finish the 2 hour stream in 1 hour, and then on top of that, skip a lot of stuff on top of that, right? So it won't take you as long. But thanks again, everyone. You guys have a great rest of your day, good rest of your week. Eat healthy, exercise, and I hope to see you again soon.